viewers, Sword Prepper here. So apparently we've reached the point in time now where news articles are being written and news media are putting out articles about what would happen in a nuclear fallout. What would happen in a nuclear war? I saw an article today. I'll put it up here real quick. I saw an article today of, I forget who wrote it, but it was about how many people would survive and how many people would die if Russia and the US went to war in a nuclear battle, in a nuclear war, world war. This isn't the first article I've seen talking about predicting a world war. This isn't the first article I've seen predicting World War III. Because if a nuclear war happens, even if it's just between Russia and the US, if a nuclear war happened at all, World War III, hands down. So these news articles are predicting this, are calling this out and saying, yeah, I think it's like 5 billion people would die. 5 billion people would die from starvation alone, like from food shortages and starvation alone. That's after the fact of people dying simply by the fallout and the blast. So what's going on here? There's a lot going on, I think. You've got these freaks creating food shortages and then saying, it's just the economy. The economy is just failing for some reason, when farmers are literally coming out and saying, yeah, they're paying me to destroy my crops. First of all, shame on you to those farmers who are destroying their crops, getting paid to destroy their crops. You're a shameful human being and you should be kicked off the planet. But they're paying these farmers to destroy their crops, and they're burning down these food plants and killing millions of chickens in the name of disease. Doing all of this when we're on the brink of a nuclear war, not only with Russia now, but with China. And then all of a sudden, these news stations, these news articles are coming out about a world war and what it would look like. This is what you call predictive programming, and we've seen it before. It's happened before. It happened before the pandemic. All of a sudden, these news articles started coming out about, deadly viruses and what they would look like if a virus ever hit the planet, if a virus ever came into society. These news articles came out about, what would humanity do if they were plagued by some virus, some deadly virus? Then about a few years down the road, maybe 2 years from when they started coming out with those articles, we have this pandemic. Same thing's happening right now. So what this is telling me, and what I would do right now, is I would probably perhaps start thinking about, what am I going to do if we did have a nuclear fallout? What am I going to do if there was a nuclear war? What am I going to do if there was even just a small nuclear fallout? Doesn't have to be a big one, doesn't have to be a major one. Just something small, enough to shake up reality, enough to shake up the planet. That's all it would take. Let me tell you something right now about all this nuclear stuff. People are looking for, not you warriors, but people in general are looking for a movie style fallout. They're looking for a movie style, the way it plays out in I Am Legend and all these movies. Everyone knows what's going on at every given time. That's not the way it happens in real life. It's not the way it's going to happen. New York could be hit by a nuclear bomb tomorrow, and much of the country wouldn't change. Much of the country, as a life as we know it, wouldn't change very much for a lot of people. But the world would feel it. What am I saying, that no one would know? No one would know that. Of course, people would know. But as far as like a bomb hitting New York, you might not see it here. You might not see it down in Alabama or somewhere. But the world would change the world. It wouldn't look like it does in movies when, everything's going down and everyone's just in a state of panic and the cars are just zooming by the streets and everyone's just lost their head. It wouldn't look like that. There would still be people living in their houses, watching TV, eating. But then when you go out and you look in the world, that's where you'd see the change. That's where it'd be like, things are different. But it wouldn't be this state of just absolute panic and state of just absolute terrible life. That's not the way it would be. If a nuclear bomb hit New York and California, that's not the way it would be. Everyone would feel it. Don't get me wrong. Everyone would feel it. Everyone would know what was up. But it wouldn't just be this state of absolute panic all across America, all over the world. Yes, there would be panic in places. Yes, people would lose their head. But as far as the world just falling into a state of absolute controversy and just nothing anywhere, no one is at work or anything, no, that's not the way it'd be. People would still be at work. You could still go to a gas station and buy gas. There would still be people running the gas stations. There would still be employees in Walmart. There would still be all that wherever the nuclear bomb didn't go off. But my point with this video is to highlight the fact that we are getting close. We are seeing that. We're seeing that red alert. We're seeing that alarm. You've got officials now talking about how we could very well see a world war, a nuclear war within the next few months, within the onset of fall. Officials now are talking about that. You've got now it's gotten to the point where the average person is thinking about, oh yeah, I heard about how, yeah, there was some nuclear talk in the governments and all that. Some people are talking about nuclear stuff. It's reached that point now, which means that you can be sure that all the government officials, all the people in Russia, China, America, they all know that each other are willing to do a nuclear, well, maybe not America. America's weak and stupid, run by a dummy in office, somebody who doesn't have a brain. But Russia and China, they'll use nuclear weapons. They know this. And they know that the game is, as far as nuclear weapons are concerned, the game is whoever uses it first pretty much wins. So if Russia and China were at war with each other, which they're not, because Russia and China are really good friends. Putin and the president of China are really good friends. But if Russia and China had a nuclear war, let's say they had a nuclear war, it would really just depend on who struck first. Whoever struck first would really have the upper hand. Would really pretty much have won the war. That's pretty much what it would be. I'm not saying that the other country would get hit by a nuclear strike as well. They would also get nuked, but as far as winning, the one who struck first is probably going to win. But yes, you have these officials talking about, yes, nuclear war is so close now. We've never seen it this close before in history. The only time we ever saw it this close was during World War II, and now it's like back around the corner, and we're all thinking about it. We're all worried about it. Yeah. So guys, this isn't a time to be putting your money into your next vacation. This isn't a time to be putting your money into your next brand new car when you have a car that's already running perfectly. This isn't a time to be putting your money into just frivolous things. This is a time to be preparing, because you might not be able to in the next few months. Come fall, you might not be able to. It might be harder for the average person to start preparing. It might be harder for the average person who has never been into this before, who doesn't really know about the preparedness lifestyle. It might be harder for them now than it was a few months ago when you started. And it's only going to get harder. So my advice is start now. Start while you can. Start while the getting is good. Because the shelves are only going to become emptier and emptier. People are only going to wake up more and more people are only going to wake up, realize what's going on, and then just buy up everything. That's what's going to happen. So make sure you've got what you need while you can get it. That's what this game is now. Plant your gardens now. Get your full garden started. I need to get my full garden started, but get your full garden started. Get your full preps in place. If your preps are different, which they should be, your preps should be different in the summer than they are for the winter. So if you need to rearrange your preps now for the winter onset, it's about time to start thinking about that. Winter's just around the corner. It's about time to start thinking about, okay, I need to get my preps ready for the winter, not the summer. I wanted to touch on one more thing where these government officials are concerned. These hotheads are they're so at each other's throat. They're so ready to nuke each other. They're so angry with each other that they're ready to use nukes, that they're talking about nuking each other. But has anybody ever thought about this? And I know a lot of people actually don't know this really exists. But they're so angry that they're willing to nuke each other, but yet they won't break their Antarctica treaty. They won't break they won't break the treaty they all formed with Antarctica. No one's going to break that. Russia's not going to say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm sick, I'm pulling out. China's not saying, I'm tired of this, the US, you guys are too bad now, I'm pulling out. But we're ready to nuke you as far as inland goes. We're so angry with Nancy Pelosi that we're threatening with nukes. But as far as the Antarctica treaty, that's fine. No one really cares about that. Something's not adding up. Something's not adding up at all. So think about this. Get ready. It's time to move. It's time to get ready, guys. That's all I can really say. Warriors, it's time to pick up your swords. Time to put on your armor and decide which side you're on. Every single warrior has to come to that decision first. Who are you fighting for? What side are you fighting for? Whose side are you on? Or are you just fighting for yourself? These are decisions that have to be made. These are things that have to be thought about. Alright, warriors. Keep on prepping, stay out of the heat. It's very important that we prep. It's very important that we do these things. It's very important that when the chips fall and when the grid goes down, we have each other to count on. We have each other to trade with. We have a network of people still out there. Because the government, we all know they're not anything to rely on. We all know that they'll leave you at a pinch if you don't believe the same way that they do. If you don't believe the things they want you to. If you don't want to get something right there on your arm, you're no longer fit for society. I have a sneaking suspicion how I figure things are going to play out. But I'll make that another video. Perhaps tomorrow I'll make that video. But I have a sneaking suspicion about how all this is going to go out. Because I'll tell you what. They have not forgotten about this whole vaccine thing. They haven't forgotten about that whatsoever. At all. It's still back there and they still have plans for that. Alright, warriors. Take it easy. Keep prepping, stay out of the heat. I'll see you in the line of battle.